Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, the Beauty Myth. Learn the beauty secrets of the goddess next door in this action-packed Isis series adventure. Get Isis, the Beauty Myth at online booksellers everywhere today.
It looks like WNBA player Britney Griner will be spending 10 years inside of Russia's broke-down palace. Now, the reason why I'm referencing that 1999 movie that starred Claire Danes and Kate Beckinsale is because the incident that led to Britney Griner winding up in prison is similar to this plot of that movie. Now, back in February, your Britney Griner came to Russia to play basketball, and as she was getting off the plane, your Russian agents soon found cartridges of hashish oil inside of her suitcase, and after finding this controlled substance in Russia, she was arrested and charged with possession of a controlled substance. And after your Britney Griner was arrested and charged with possession of this controlled substance, people in America have been working frantically to get Britney Griner released from that Russian jail. However, what they're finding is that the laws in Russia are completely different than the laws here in America. And here in gynocentric America, a woman who was a part of the alphabet community like Britney Griner can easily get a pass for possessing substances like hashish oil, which are legal in many parts of the United States. However, in Russia, your hashish oil is considered to be a contraband substance and is banned, and if you have possession of it, the Russian government will go out here and arrest you for possession of that substance. Moreover, the Russian government has very strict laws as related to the possession of contraband substances like hashish oil. And like the war on drugs here in America, these laws are used to punish people and to deter them from bringing these substances into the country. And this is where it's very similar to the Broke Down Palace movie, where your Kate Beckinsale and your Claire Danes' characters went on a trip for a vacation and ran into a guy, and the guy told them to take a package there for them. And then what happened was they got caught with this package and they wound up getting arrested. And that's what happened to your Britney Griner. However, your Britney Griner brought this package of hashish oil into the country herself, and she alleges that she brought this hashish oil into the country because she made a mistake of putting it in her luggage. Now, your Britney Griner's people allege that she had this hashish oil as part of a medical prescription, but I really don't know what's going on there as related to your Britney Griner's need for this on a medical condition. All I know is that your Britney Griner didn't really think critically about going into Russia. No, she thought that your Russia's laws would be just as lenient as those here in America that women get benefits from. But when she came to Russia, she soon found out that the law over there is completely different as related to Americans, especially Black Americans. Now, your Britney Griner is having to eat a lot of humble pie in the aftermath of this arrest, trial, and conviction, because over a year ago, your Britney Griner was over here in America talking about how bad America was and how she didn't want to stand for the national anthem. And she made a lot of anti-American statements that have now come back to bite her in the backside now that she's experiencing what life is like inside of a Russian jail. As she sits in the Russian jail, she's realizing that maybe she shouldn't have spoken bad about America, because now that she's experiencing life on the other side in that so-called ideal country, now she's seeing the reality that life under Russian-style governments is completely different than it was in America, where females receive a lot of benefits for just being female. And that's what Britney Griner was hoping to use to try to get out of that Russian jail. She was going from trying to be the dominant inside of her alphabet relationship with her wife and trying to be in the masculine role, and then automatically she wanted to try to transfer over to the feminine role, talking about how she was a woman and how hard it was for her. And that's not really flying with the Russian government, who sees everybody about the same and holds everybody to the same standard. And in some cases, are racist because they're holding her to a different standard as a black woman. She thought, oh, I'm going to come in here and play all of these different cards, but those cards don't work inside of Russia. And because those cards don't work inside of Russia, your Britney Griner is finding herself being painted into a corner where there's no way out. Now, people here in America, they have been trying to work out a diplomatic situation to get Britney Griner out of jail even after she was arrested, but they're not really getting much traction due to the completely strained relations between the U.S. and Russia, because your Britney Griner was arrested during the time that your Vladimir Putin had invaded the Ukraine, and your Joker Joe had gone out here and made a lot of statements to go out here and egg on that conflict in the Ukraine. And as relations between the U.S. and the Russians wound up getting strained, your Britney Griner wound up becoming a prisoner who was caught up in a really bad political situation. Because now the Russians have her, and they have all of this leverage, and they don't have any real reason to go out here and release her. And they don't have a reason to release her because because they're in the middle of a conflict with the U.S., and because they're in a conflict with the U.S., they don't have any incentive to release her over this charge. And again, this is what bad timing is, because your Britney Griner again is in the middle of this, and she's basically being used as a political pawn between the Biden administration and the Russians. Your Russians don't really have a reason to go out here and release her because they have leverage in the situation, and they can use this to get whatever they want in order to get the prisoners that they want. Now, the Biden administration has offered up the Merchant of Death in exchange for Britney Griner, but I don't believe that they think that that's of value to them, because this guy, even though he's a dangerous arms dealer, they don't really see it as an even exchange for a two-bit celebrity who's a part of the WNBA. Because your Britney Griner, yes, she was a big star in the WNBA, but the WNBA is a pale shadow of what the NBA actually is. So there's not much real reason to leverage her for anybody at this point. But your Biden administration, the main reason why they're making these gestures to the Russians is because of all the media fervor over Britney Griner, who nobody really cared about before this, because the WNBA was hemorrhaging money, and because the WNBA was hemorrhaging money, they basically were sitting there at being an obscure part of basketball. And a lot of people will sit there and make the argument, okay, well, the reason why Britney Griner went over there was because she wasn't making much money in the WNBA, but the main reason why she wasn't making money in the WNBA was because most women were turned off by the WNBA and its uninspired play, and most people didn't really care about the WNBA. Even those who complained about nobody watching the WNBA like your feminists and members of the alphabet community. Many of the members of the feminist and alphabet community have been eerily silent as Britney Griner was arrested, and many members of the feminist and and alphabet community have not really spoken out for your Britney Griner, which really shows us how, in some ways, these people were racist, because if this was a white person, they would be out speaking for Britney Griner. But the whole thing is, your Britney Griner has fallen through the cracks because she was a black woman. And the only reason why the Biden administration and the mainstream media are talking about Britney Griner is because it's an election year, and because it's an election year, they want to go out here and get the votes of black females, and they're hoping that by participating in this gesture, it will make it look like the Biden administration cares about black women. And sadly, many black women believe in this political rhetoric, not understanding that Britney Griner is nothing more than a political pawn that is being used by the Biden administration to make it look like they care about black women and make it look like they care about black female voters. This is something designed to stimulate the emotions of black women, but not give them anything tangible at all. Because this is what this whole gesture with Britney Griner is all about, and all the drama surrounding her sentence. They want to get black women all riled up and wanting to go out here to vote blue, and make them believe that if they go out here and vote blue, that somebody will care about black people. But black women have to start thinking critically about this whole Britney Griner situation, because Britney Griner wasn't thinking about black America when she went out here and denounced the American flag. She wasn't thinking about black America when she said that we didn't need a national anthem. And she wasn't thinking about black America when she was out here talking all against America. And she wasn't out here supporting all of the black community, especially the heterosexual black community. No, your Britney Griner wasn't on black people's side, and she decided to be an individual in Russia, and she forgot about the group of foundational black Americans. So she's all pleading for black America's help, especially all of the black women out here, and all of these people want to get black people running out to support Britney Griner as related to this situation. But there's nothing black America can do, because black America would have told her to stay herself over here. But she didn't want to understand that she wanted to go overseas like many of the passport bros. And when you go overseas to other countries, you have to understand you're not playing by your rules. You cannot get away with the stuff that you pull here in America. No, in these countries, they are not gynocentric. They do not give passes to women because they are women, and they don't give passes to black women for their behavior. No, if anything, this puts a bigger target on your back in countries like Russia, which practice white supremacy on the regular. So you need to understand that when you go to these other countries, they participate in anti-black racism, and when you're in these countries, they're looking for any moment to take you out. And this is something Britney Griner really didn't think about, and she'll have to think about for the next 10 years inside of that Russian prison, because I doubt that the Biden administration will be able to get her out, because the Russians aren't playing the game that the Biden administration is playing. And since they have all the leverage in the situation, they don't have a reason to go out here and play the games with your Britney Griner. No, for them, it's game over, and they are going to use her as a political prisoner, because even though the Biden administration tried to use her as a political pawn, they just see her as a pawn that both sides were going to discard once they got what they wanted. Because this is what happens when you're a black person and you don't understand the subtle politics transpiring around you. You don't understand that this is why you don't go traveling to these countries and not know the laws, because if you get caught up in a situation, you're going to wind up getting jammed up and possibly stuck in the broke down palace with no way out. And that's what happened here to Britney Griner. She wound up going over to Russia to play a game, tried to run game on the Russians, and then soon found out it was game over because the Russians were not playing the same games that they do with American women. No, American women get a lot of privileges and passes here because the white supremacists here want to make money off them, but the Russians, they don't really see their women the same way that they do over here. In fact, they shut down all the feminism. They shut down the independent woman nonsense. They don't put up with that stuff over there. And they also don't put up with members of the alphabet community or members of the black community. In Russia, it's ruled with an iron fist, and you can't get mad if you go over there, because if you go over there, you have to play by their rules, and if you don't like playing by their rules, then you're not going to really survive over there, because that's what Britney Griner has learned, and that's what many Americans need to learn, that if you go over to another man's land, you have to play by his rules, and you have to understand all of those rules. You just can't go over there saying, oh, I made a mistake, I put this in my bag. No, that's not going to fly over there. You need to start thinking critically, because one mistake in a foreign country can cost a black person their freedom the same way it cost Britney Griner hers. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Hayes series, and the books of the Smith Sorella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, ISIS, All That Glitters. The Goddess Next Door takes on a bikini-clad bank robber in this action-packed, all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, All That Glitters in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.